Ooh, the Maple Leafs, a 2-1 winner over the Golden Knights at Scotiabank Arena, make that 3 Vicks in a row for the Maple Brothers. I'm Norm from the home office in London, Ontario, joined as always by my partner in crime from the Bureau in Cheektowaga, New York, the one and only Michael Piagello. This is the Leafs Convo.
Nathan Jenner from Oak Ridge Ford. The 2020 models are rolling in, including the all-new redesigned Escape and Explorer. For a limited time, save big with Black Friday specials on all remaining in-stock 2019s. Like a 2019 Ford Edge SEL all-wheel drive, starting at $433 per month plus HST for a 5-year lease with $0 down. Oak Ridge Ford, where a reputation gets you here and the trust keeps you coming back. For full details, visit oakridgeford.com.
Of course, the convo sponsored by Oak Ridge Ford. We appreciate their support. And to you, the OGs and the true podcast listener that is a connoisseur of what we do, thank you too. Mr. A, the Maple Leafs, 3 straight wins, a 2-1 win in overtime over the Vegas Golden Knights. Marner plus Tavares equals Dunzell Washington. It wasn't pretty, but that was pretty.
Good morning, Norm. I have to say, obviously winning 3 in a row is much more preferable than losing 3 in a row. But even though the team now is 9-5-3, these 3 victories in a row have all been sort of inconsistent efforts where I believe that the Philadelphia game was chiefly responsible. Freddie Anderson in the shootout, stopping 10 of 11 shots. The game against the Kings, I think the Leafs played down to the level of one of the worst teams in the NHL and the LA Kings, but they get a spurt 30 seconds into the third period where Matthews and Nylander score and they get the victory. And last night, I have to say the most exciting thing that happened in the first 2 periods of that game was me being on the camera on Sportsnet at the beginning of the broadcast. The Leafs had no shots on goal for the first, I think, 13 or 14 minutes of the second period. They didn't even have a shot on a power play. They played dreadfully in the first 2 periods. And then Vegas gets the opening goal, and Matthews, finally the power play gets on track. Really, it's good that they're getting victories, and it's needed that they're getting victories, but the inconsistency of the effort is very noticeable. And honestly, if they hope to win consistently, they have to play a lot better than they're playing right now.
Whether we like how they've put it all together over the past 3 games, they have won consistently, 3 in a row. Were they in a malaise versus Vegas, a team that has been pretty good with one of the best goaltenders in the league? Or did they quietly just go about their business, capitalizing on a team in town probably not playing its best either?
Well, I think I would opt more toward the malaise side, because you saw that what Babcock was doing, and especially in the later in the second period and early in the third, he threw his forward lines into a blender. He put Matthews on the line with Mikheyev and Kapanen, double shifted them, tried some different combinations because nothing was working. There didn't seem to be any spark there, and frankly, it was a dog's breakfast, to use a Bill Waters term. It was not an entertaining game and not a very well played game. Now, Babcock after the game said, well, Vegas is a high end team and their top 6 forwards are good and their defense is good. And I'm not saying that that's not the case, but they had Malcolm Subban in goal, who is not a good goaltender, hasn't shown that he's a good goaltender in the NHL. And the Leafs failed to really put any kind of consistent pressure on him for the entire game.
Mike, are we expecting this team to have an about face and become the juggernaut we all think that's laying in wait overnight, Mike? It's going to take time.
No, and we've both said on this show that, with the changeover in the roster, with more than a third of the roster, being shuffled during the season or during the summer, that, there would be some adjustment period. But again, it's not the new people, with the exception of maybe Tyson Berry, that have been the problem. Guys like Ilya Mikheyev have played really well. Justin Hall was a spot player last year, has played really well. It's the core group. Yeah. Matthews has, I believe, 13 goals now. 12 of them have been at home. That's great. But when you're going on the road for 13 of the next 16 games after Saturday against the Flyers, concern because he's your leading goal scorer and he needs to produce away from Scotiabank Arena. So, I mean, I think there are legitimate concerns right now. Obviously, you take the victories, but you also have to be concerned with the shortcomings right now.
Matthews with a power play goal. Does it even count? It's not 5-on-5, Mike. Of course it does. And the Leafs need to have more goals that count with the man advantage. This team's power play is its toughness, and there's not a lot of toughness with this team right now. That said, it has won 3 in a row. John, with 16-plus minutes of ice time last night, almost 17, getting back into the swing of things. I have a feeling that number 91 is going to carry the squad for a while, and he's going to carry the squad to good times. A grape and an apple, including that finisher from Mitch Marner, who is a contentious player right now. People think he's not playing up to his contract. Others think that, he's doing what he has to do. He's right there among the leaders in points on the team and in the league. Made a nice pass to set up the game winner. I think he's an example of the team as a whole. No one's really doing anything special right now except for Freddie Anderson last night. But they're plodding along. They've won 3 in a row. Hopefully sooner rather than later, a lot of this stuff's going to start to come together, and we're going to see a really nice run that this team's going to put together. And, it's going to make its way up the standings into that upper tier where we hope it'll stay for the remainder of the season. Mike, another point on that. Let's get to a couple of OG comments and we'll wrap it up.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you have to adjust your perspective when it comes to the expectations for this team. I mean, I may be as guilty as anybody, but I think it's common with even reporters and observers of this team. When somebody is making $925,000 and scores 94 points and then signs a contract and he's making almost $11 million, you expect more than 94 points.
I know, but Mike,
Right. And I'm saying that has to be sort of adjusted. But I don't think Marner has played badly. I think he's played at times just as well as he played last year. The injury to Tavares and the absence of 7 games killed this team in terms of their effectiveness on the power play. They were 2 for 23 on the power play with Tavares out. He would have had a power play goal with that gaping net against the Kings, but missed. And then, they scored the game winner, but they got a power play goal. But their power play was terrible, was absolutely
huge
terrible.
Problem.
And it shouldn't be because there's a ton of talent there. Now, there have been examples in the past, like Pittsburgh with Crosby and Malkin had struggles on the power play. It's got to be straightened out. And honestly, I don't buy the whole power play is their toughness statement that Babcock has made in the past. But all you're doing is giving other teams carte blanche to take more stupid penalties and be more aggressive if your power play doesn't work. So it has to start working. Otherwise, other teams are going to take liberties. But right now, you have to thank I call November Freddie for the uptick in this team right now, because October Freddie, meaning Freddie Anderson, was okay. November Freddie traditionally in Toronto has made the difference. The question is, can they not overplay him, and then April Freddie is the guy who lets you down?
On Twitter, I said last night, because I'm back into Twitter, Mike. Clearly, I'm trying to drum up some more interest and followership for this podcast. That's the only reason I'm on. No matter who you dislike among these Leafs, you love Freddie. We all do. And that is the unifying player, the unifying factor, the unifying force of a very divided Leafs nation right now. And I know we seem like we're a bit of a broken record or a bit redundant in some of the things we're talking about right now, but the team is spinning its wheels a little bit. We're all trying to figure out which direction it's going to go. Robert James, is the Leafs problem a coaching problem or a personnel problem? Mike, that's the number one question right now among Leafs Nation. Is it the coach's fault, or is it just the players not performing, or perhaps the players not being the right fit for what the coach wants to do, and by extension, what Kyle Dubas had planned?
Well, it may be a cop out of an answer, but I think it's a multi-system failure, and because it's not just the coaching, it's not just the players, it's not just the management, it's a combination of all three. I mean, I still believe that management, meaning Kyle Dubas and Babcock, are not on the same page in terms of the type of team that Babcock wants. I think he wants more physical guys, not goons, not that situation, but players who play that heavy hockey that he constantly talks about. This team does not play heavy hockey. It doesn't even come close to playing heavy hockey. And I don't believe that Dubas has provided Babcock with the players that can play the type of game that he wants. Now, that's up to the players to adapt, or if they can't adapt, then it's up to Dubas to go out and try to find those players. And that's going to be tough with their current cap situation.
Do you want to play heavy hockey right now, Mike? Or can this team transform itself into a heavy hockey type club with the experience of having lost and the yearning for success come February around the trade deadline? Last point.
I don't believe that you can just, and Babcock said this last month, and I agreed with the statement. You can't turn it on at the drop of a hat or with the flick of a switch or a click of the fingers. You have to play that, at least model that at throughout the year to be able to be good at it. Boston's playing heavy hockey every night. St. Louis is playing heavy hockey every night. They're winning. There is no mistake.
Yeah.
If you do that, you win.
You have to have the personnel for it. Big thanks to Maple Leafs Aggregator. The website is amazing. The Twitter account showing us lots of love and support, dating way back. Thank you very much for that. So, Mike, you were caught on camera at Scotiabank Arena. And when we look at the data, the viewership will have dipped like dramatically after seeing you.
It's funny because I'm up in the press box, getting ready for the game, and all of a sudden my Twitter explodes and says, "Hey, Mike, I saw Mike in Buffalo on Sports." I'm like, "Geez!" It's like, did everybody's TV screen break when that happened? But yeah, somebody sent me a picture of it. It was pretty funny. I was putting my phone on the podium as Babcock was coming in there to get good audio, and the cameras caught me. So you got
the Mike and Mike show. If you have a good quality image, Mike, share it so I can put it on the community platform. Sure. Do you have to explain to anybody why you're called Mike in Buffalo with all the young fans now? I find that when we talk about you and Mike in Buffalo, if I'm talking to a younger person, they don't know your fame from Leafs Talk, the pre and post game on 640. All those years, Mike, they don't know your fame. That fame is dwindling away. You've created a new star for yourself, but there's a foundation to this run that is Mike in Buffalo.
Yeah, the most common thing I come up against, especially on Twitter, are people that don't realize that I'm the Mike in Buffalo that was on the radio. That they just thought that was a clever name because I live in Buffalo and that I cover the Leafs. But you mean you're the guy that was on 640?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was. But maybe they think I'm ancient because I started calling that show in 1997.
Careful now what you try to create. I'm Norman London. There's Steve in Brampton, Don in Peterborough, Sally in Mississauga. Those are fantastic Twitter names, all inspired by the one and only Mike in Buffalo. Michael, it was fun. Leafs Flyers, then Leafs Hawks, and then they're on the road for a long period of time. We'll try to keep track of it all. Talk to you soon.